So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, stock market down heavy today. Chip stocks for
Whew.
sure. But let's talk about the Trump ETF before we get into that. So the Trump ETF looking like that there's a pathway for it.
Told you.
So what's the deal with this?
I gave you guys some insight that I think after the success of for him of the Trump coin. Shout out to all of you who are holding the bag at an all time high. Um, the next move would be to have a Trump ETF, and I think the obvious players would be Meta, Microsoft. You got to throw in Larry at Oracle, and I felt so bad for Salesforce because I don't know how they turned the ship around. Nvidia, I think AMD is going to have an amazing year despite shipping technology with DeepSeek in it.
Allegedly.
And a few people allegedly, according to inside reports.
According to reports.
But a lot of people have been asking me if this ETF is pushed, should it be allowed, and should you invest in it if you're black? We can have that conversation for another day. I think you guys know our stance on that. But the thing that I did find interesting with this DeepSeek situation, it feels like they're trying to find the new iteration of the Max 7, and that ETF could be it. I don't think it's fair. But in the land of lawlessness, what is fair?
Yeah, I'd add. I mean, it makes sense that Tesla would be inside that ETF.
For sure. I mean, that goes without saying, but yes.
Yeah. Funny enough, I feel like Truth Social will be inside this ETF. I think this is another way for people to invest in a
I
company.
wouldn't be mad at them.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you just add that? Now, it doesn't have to have the largest allocation. And if you look at ETFs, some of them have 50 positions, right? And the allocation is just kind of spread out based on the growth of the companies. But I mean, I could see a world where that is inside of it at a smaller allocation,
2% or 5%.
And if we're seeing any signs of what quote unquote retail and institutional have done inside of the meme coin, when people have access to an ETF, will there be similar enthusiasm? Perhaps. So, I mean, if people pour into that ETF, even at the smallest allocation, the valuation of that company is going to go up. So it'd be interesting to see, man. I know they were trying to ban government officials from investing in the stock market.
Never going to happen.
I don't think that's going to fly anymore.
They should have Pelosi as senior advisor if they do put one together, because she is on fire. Oh, Broadcom will probably be in there as well.
Yeah. Any Microsoft, like you said, Microsoft, any company that's affiliated, definitely with the initiatives that he's been speaking of. And we spoke about some companies last week in terms of industrials, and you saw the Spider industrial ETF have a great week last week. We saw Caterpillar rise last week. RTX is reporting this week. These are the type of companies, man, when we're talking about defense and we're talking about cybersecurity. Palo Alto had a great week last week. CrowdStrike is running up. All the cybersecurity space. So those are the type of companies, when he's talking about making America, quote unquote, great, it's tough to use the word again. These are the companies you should be looking at. And if he puts those inside the ETF, there's a reason why.
What companies won't be in the ETF? That's the real conversation.
Who won't be?
Salesforce, probably not. And I like Mark, but
it'll be there. It'll be there.
You think so?
Yeah. Business is business. Right? Like Meta is I mean, you're talking about top 5 in terms of market cap. Meta and
Salesforce?
Oh no, you talking about Salesforce? Oh, Salesforce.
Yeah. Oh no, Meta gonna be there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Salesforce there. That's questionable. But it's interesting. Like if you watch it, I'm talking about Salesforce for the past maybe 4 years ago, and then I kind of was like, you know what, I'm leaving Salesforce. It's just not moving. But it's related to the AI story, the same way everything else is. In terms of like, yes, we know the computing standpoint, we know the energy standpoint, we know the connectivity standpoint. There's also a software component, like how and where are we placing these things into application? From an enterprise standpoint, Salesforce is that, right? In terms of enterprise CRMs, and then obviously HubSpot, we've spoken about that for the past 2 years at a smaller scale, and we've seen that run. And so that's why you're starting to see that company move, that stock move in the way it's been moving over the past 6 months. And, every quarter, it seems like over the past 2 or 3, they're growing at a nice rate. So